What's up, everybody? It's Matt from Night and Day Performance, back again with another video. Behind me in the distance, as you can see, there's a beautiful 2023 Dodge Challenger. And as you can see from the front end, we just got done installing some very nice Lighting Trends DRL boards. These are RGBWs on this one, so it can change from any color, but they don't do the cool flashy stuff. But this vehicle is very beautiful. It actually has very low mileage. It has 1,100 miles on the dash, I think. So, relatively new. The customer got it and wanted to do a few upgrades to it, so we went ahead and got the lights done. Now we're working on the exhaust system because this is quite frankly not that loud. Factory stuff is okay, but for the Dodges, they are kind of mellow compared to some of the competitors. And normally, that's one of the first things that people do is they change the exhaust. Some people do mid-muffler deletes, some people do resonator deletes, some people do catbacks, some people do headers and more. I advise this customer against doing anything as of yet as far as long tubes or anything of that sort, just because of the fact that while I like voiding warranties from the factory because the factory sucks and the dealership sucks, this car has 1,100 miles on it. And I told him usually issues with these cars will show up within like 5,000 miles or so. Sometimes 10. So I told him just give it a little more time, put some more time on the clock before we start tearing into the motor or putting long tubes on or doing anything that could jeopardize his overall warranty state. So as you can see here, we got the car. I'm gonna set you guys up so you can hear what this Challenger sounds like. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and let us know what you think about how this exhaust sounds stock. Then we're gonna do an unboxing of the MBRP exhaust that I have over there. And we're gonna go ahead and get it put on the car tonight so the customer can have the car tomorrow. So, let me know what you think about this sound clip. All right, so that was not bad, but we can do a whole lot better. As you can see over in the distance, we have an MBRP exhaust. I'm gonna get it over to the car so we can get it unboxed. All right, so as you can see here, we have the MBRP exhaust all boxed up. Let's see what they got. Now, first of all, the packaging is nice because they staple everything, make sure it stays together, and put "handle with care" all over it. But as we all know, UPS and FedEx can care less. They don't handle with care, they just throw stuff around. So, all right, here we have our exhaust clamp, variety of sizes. All right, we have an exhaust tip here, because this is for the Challenger, so these should be dual tips. So let's see, and that they are. These are dual tips. Oh yeah, and we got the nice ones on this one. These are the MBRP carbon tips. So as you can see there, very, very nice quality for the price. This entire exhaust system, the whole catback, is right around 1,200 bucks. If you want to order one, you can order it from us, nightandayperformance.com. We do have these usually in stock at the warehouse, and usually we can have these shipped out within 1 to 2 days. All right, so we'll put that back in the bag so we don't scratch it up. Drop it back in the box. First thing, we want to always make sure that we have all the parts before we start tearing it apart. So we do have another exhaust tip here. That one looks like it got hit by the pipe, so I'm going to open it up just to make sure that it's not damaged. And the packaging is good, it's not damaged. Set that to the side. We have our stainless exhaust tubing. Don't think there matters about left or right there. Tons and tons of packing. All right, so I will say one thing that I've noticed so far is it doesn't look like there's a lot of markings on the exhaust, which is fine from my standpoint for an installer. I can figure out where these go pretty simple, pretty easy. However, some people might have issues with that if they're not used to doing these. So we have our active exhaust simulators here. So it's gonna actually think that the active exhaust is still functional, even though it is not, so that we don't have any check engine lights. But like I said, other companies that I have installed for, they do have markings on them, left, right, to kind of make it easier on the consumer. But this one does not. It won't be an issue. Of course, you can just line them up, and it's not that hard to tell which one goes where, because they're gonna match the pipes that are on the exhaust, or on the car now. The wrapper. We have our X pipe here, which is pretty nice, I'll say. Everything looks mandrel bent for the most part, so everything doesn't look like it has any kinks or anything in it. And then we have a few adapters, because they can use this exhaust on multiple size exhaust diameters. So your 5.7, 6.4, 6.2. Some of them have slightly different. They go from 2.5 to 2 3/4. So it looks like we have adapters for both to suit whichever one we need. And from there, it looks like we have everything. Throw that out the way, and I'll bring you guys a little closer just to show you real quick before we start getting the car up in the air. So that's what you get in the box from MBRP. And as far as budget goes, it's a very budget friendly exhaust. And as you can see, there's no mufflers there. So it's gonna sound real good. It's gonna be pretty loud. So let's go ahead and get the car up in the air so we can go ahead and get ready to get the old exhaust off. And I'll show you guys the factory exhaust on this 23 and show you what we're gonna be doing to change the sound of it. All right, we got the car up in the air, and now we're gonna go over the underside. And as you can see, this car is brand new. It still has stickers on it from the factory. Beautiful orange block up there. So we're leaving the cats alone, and then we're gonna come down here. So basically, if you're looking for a cat back, it's gonna be where the color changes usually on the Dodges. It goes from the bronzish color to the stainless silver color. So these are what people consider mid mufflers. Some people say they're resonators. They're in the middle. I think they're mufflers. These are mid mufflers to me. Some people do the delete there. Well, they'll just cut the pipe out here and here, put a pipe in between. It makes it louder. Very affordable way to do it. And then in the back, you have these, which I consider resonators. It muffles and then it resonates. But some people say that it resonates and then it muffles. Don't really care either way. And then we have our factory tips here. So for those that are wanting to know how to take this off, first we're going to take these off. Different cars have different ones. These right here are usually a 15. So we're going to take that off. And we're going to have something to support the exhaust system. Up here you're going to have 13s. If you can see up there. And we're going to take those off. So there's a 13 there. There's another 13 right there. It's going to be right where this little bracket is. But before you do that, you want to make sure you unplug your active exhaust so you don't rip it. Right here, we're going to be transferring this part over. And then in the back here, there's usually one or two 13 millimeters. So we're going to go, there's one right here on each side. Sometimes you'll see one back here, but there is not on this one. So there's one here, one there. So you're going to need 13, 15, or 16 depending on the front, and something to support it. And then you're going to need a way to support or take off this active exhaust valve, and then take the little push pins off that are here holding it as well, because they can't be on the brackets. But I'm going to go ahead and get this exhaust taken down so we can get the new one fitted up. All right, so as you can see there, got the exhaust down. In real time, it probably took me maybe 15 minutes, probably about 10. So there's a bolt there, right here. It comes out. Bolt there. It comes out. Up here, you have a bracket. Same on the other side. You have your wires for your active exhaust. And then the front bolts, you wiggle it and shake it, and this is what you're left with. factory exhaust. Well, now it's time to make this thing louder. Time to get the MBRP exhaust fitted up. Alright, so as we're installing, there's a part that a lot of people I saw on the forums were complaining about with the MBRP exhaust, saying that it was restrictive. And that is right here. There's a section that goes from 3" down to about 2.5. The funny part is you actually slip the exhaust on over this anyways. So there's not really a huge point in having that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that little piece off. If I need to, I can always extend it. So always check before you do that. As you see, I just checked the length when I was mocking everything up to make sure that it was long enough. It should always be long enough. And if it's not, you can always, if you have a welder, you can weld and add a little bit onto it, of course. But we should have plenty. I'm going to cut this off smooth with that cut there so that we don't have any restrictions. And I'm going to take it down to do that real quick. And then we'll go ahead and get it bolted back up. Alright, so now we're back over with the active exhaust system, and we're going to go ahead and get this taken off. These are 8mm. So we're going to take these nuts off. Should be 3 holding it on each side. There is going to be a spring inside, so you want to keep that with it. You got to pull it off kind of evenly here to feel like it's wedged. So there's a little spring. Same to this side. Like I said, you gotta push the spring in sometimes to get it to come off evenly. And these are right and left. There is an L and an R on them. So left as in driver's side, and then R is in right side. So make sure you pay attention to that when you're putting them back on. Now we're going to need all the hangers off of this exhaust. Easiest way, shoot some WD-40 in there. You can also use like some grease or lube too, but I lube them up real good. Front and back side. Make it all nice and slippery. And then there's a few ways you can get them off. Some ways you gotta fight with them, some ways you don't. I'll sit you guys here. So you can use big pliers, you can use pry bars. Kind of just depends on how much they want to fight you. But you can use a pry bar underneath it on some of them and hold them. And just get it to pop off. And if that doesn't want to work, take a big set, channel locks or pliers to get it started over the nipple. Once you get the top part off, the rest slips off. Just like that. Now we're going to transfer those over to the MBRP exhaust, and we're going to go ahead and get that installed now. All right, it's time for the moment of truth. Challenger's done. MBRP exhaust is on. And as you can see here from the tips, everything looks really nice. Got the MBRP logos on the end. Tips look pretty straight. Let's go ahead and see what this thing sounds like with its new exhaust.